What's happening, folks? Welcome back to Movie Crack. Bone Lake, directed by Mercedes Bryce Morgan. So I've heard quite a lot about this one this week, so I said, fuck it, we'll go and have an old look. And let's just say, I didn't totally love my time at the lake. We follow Sage, played by Maddie Hassan, and her boyfriend Diego, played by Marco Pegosi. They go on a vacation to this big fancy house on a lake, but it ends up being double booked. So, yes, these are our two main characters, and you know, there's not a big cast in this movie, so you're kind of stuck with them. And that leads me to my biggest issue with this movie. I did not love the main characters. Starting off with Diego, he is a writer who has left his job and he's kind of just focusing on becoming a big writer now, and he doesn't give a shit about income in the house and all this kind of stuff. So the movie portrays him as kind of like a man child, and yeah, didn't love his character in fairness. Maddie Hassan's character, Sage, she's kind of his girlfriend, and she just looks like she hates her life, to be quite honest. She's pissed off because Diego quit his job and now she's the only one making money in the house, and she has that vibe to her. She's also pissed off because Diego is not really very good at the bone side of the relationship. But yes, these are our two main characters. Then we also have the second couple who they double book this B&B with. The first of them being Will, played by Alex Rowe, and the second of them being Sin, his girlfriend, played by Andra Nishida. I apologize if I'm butchering that. Yes, this is the young, energetic couple who are full of adventure and love the bone side of the lake, if you get my. But yes, so these four characters are the only characters in this movie. And if you're going to put your whole movie in the hands of four characters, you better hope they can fucking carry it. In this case, they kind of carry it. This movie is a slow burn. Holy shit. It's an hour and 30 minutes long, I believe, and it felt like 2 hours long. And that is a bad sign. The first and second act of this movie is very dialogue heavy. But I will say that the movie does very well at using manipulation as kind of like a tension builder. I've never seen a movie use manipulation so kind of well, at least not in a long time. But these tension filled sequences, they build, and then it just kind of blows out. Like, because you switch to the next sequence, which is nowhere near as intense or entertaining, and you kind of have this very up and down tone through this movie. And I said it's mostly dialogue. I like to compare it to Barbarian because I mean the concept is very similar. In Barbarian, two folks book an Airbnb the same night, but the way Barbarian does it is it's creepy and spooky, and you're uncomfortable through most of the first portion of that movie, which focuses on the dynamic between these two strangers. This movie, you know, they're a bit on edge when they first meet up, and then next fucking day they're making cocktails for each other and all this, and it's just not very believable. Like, it's not very spooky or scary. It's just kind of gammy, to be honest. Also, there are some right inconveniences in this movie which piss me off. There's definitely a sequence where two characters could have easily just been, and the movie could have ended there and square. But for some reason, these characters end up being binded. But I don't want to dump on the movie completely for this whole video. The third act of this movie, when kind of the slasher elements kind of get introduced, I must say is very entertaining. I did enjoy the third act of this movie. I did not enjoy the build up to get there though. It was slow. It was a drag. Moving on to the pacing, well, you might have already gotten a hint of what I make of the pacing in this movie. The pacing is slow as hell, but when it does pick up, as I said in that third act, It is definitely entertaining. Is it worth the wait though? It depends on the person, I guess. For me, overall, the package just didn't fulfill my expectations, if that makes sense. Story and pacing, 2 out of 5. Moving on to visuals and direction. More positive note here. The visuals in the movie are very nice. There's some shots done in some dialogue sequences where the camera does this kind of a rotation kind of a thing around the group as they're kind of all conversing and stuff. Some in the heavy tense shots, they do some kind of close ups on people's lips and eyes, and I really like that as well. It's very effective. Last act of this movie too, when the slasher elements all kind of are going on here. Without giving too much spoilers away, the visuals are pretty nice. Lots of kind of like a green light thing going on. I really like that. There is gore in this movie, and the gore is also very, very good. I did really like the gore in this movie. It was well done. Well, overall, the visuals, pretty nice package here. Plenty of good things to see in this movie. You get my vibe. Moving on to the creative direction of this movie. As I said, this movie spends way too much time in boring dialogue sequences. There's not enough spook factor. There's not enough scares. There's not enough tension. There is tension-filled scenes, but they're few and far between. It's just not enough. Visuals and creative direction, I'm going to give a 3 out of 5. Lastly, sound and score. I'm going to start off with the music. I don't recall any music in this movie, so for the score. The sound effects, on the other hand, were pretty good. The sound of the gore was good. The sound of like cars crashing at one point was good, and there was good sound effects in the movie. I will say that much. Sound and score, though, I'm gonna give 2 out of 5. Pretty whack on the score front there. There you have it, folks. Bone Lake, 2.3 out of 5 overall score for me. However, if you like this movie crack and you like this movie talk and you love having a bit of fun here, like, subscribe, do the thing. Don't be a sausage. See you in the next one. Hopefully it's a good one. Good luck.